Well, welcome back to another Run Disney Rundown. It is finally Run Disney season again, and we are here to talk about Wine and Dine, everything from the Expo, races, courses, medals, and of course the Afterparty. And we are not alone in our running endeavor tonight. We are joined by Christy.
Hello, everyone.
Christy.
Christy is also running the challenge for Wine and Dine. So we are going to go and break it down. But before we get into the race, Christy, how's your training going?
I feel like if you had asked a day other than today, I would say it was great. Today was a little bit of a challenge, but that is maybe a good thing to point out to anybody listening, that some days you can have a challenge and that's okay. So I had 11 miles on schedule today and I made it like 9.5 or a little over.
Awesome.
And I'm finished, but I had to walk a lot. I walked the whole entire 10th mile and then some of the 9th mile, but
Well, that is still okay. You
Yeah.
did the distance. And I mean, your training, like, overall has been, I think, pretty solid for you, right? Like,
it really, yeah, it has been. And I ran a couple weeks ago on a pretty hilly course in Michigan. I did 10 miles and that one went so well. And so I was like, come on, this should be fine. It wasn't.
It
But it's
happens.
okay. It happens,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it's
been-
been good. My
you've been
body.
Consistent, it seems
Yeah.
like, and that's going to make the biggest difference.
I followed my little Hell Higdon plan. Although we'll talk about this later, but I do want to talk about, I mean, we'll talk about it whenever you want, but I do want to talk about tapering and what, like, because Hell Higdon's plan would have me running 10 miles next week, which I don't think I want to do that. So, but maybe, I don't know. So we'll talk about that whenever you choose to. I have a new pain in my hip that I have never experienced before that came today. So that's fun. But my knees have been holding up really well during this training. So we'll see.
I had a random hip pain a couple weeks ago before, it was the week before we did the Rock and Roll Clearwater.
Oh, no.
Again, it was like something I've never felt before. I had no idea why it happened or how it happened, and I was so nervous. But it went away before that, so
Perfect.
no idea what caused it.
yeah. So we'll go ahead and talk about Rock and Roll Clearwater since we brought it up. We ran that, was that 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think it was
2
the
weeks
7th.
ago.
I don't know if we have anything with the date on it.
7th or the 8th.
It was
one
the
of those
8th. It
two.
was the Sunday.
Yeah.
I remember that.
This was technically the inaugural because their first inaugural got canceled last year due to a hurricane. But this was a pretty cool race, actually. I think we both enjoyed it. It was harder than I think we thought it was going to be.
It's about what I expected, to be honest. We didn't really like look into the course or research it or whatever before we
True.
signed up. We were able to do it for free, so we were like, let's do that. But we went into it thinking of it like a training run, not a race that we were going to try to PR or anything like that. We wanted to get a run that distance done. It was a new place, a new experience, and it went really well, I think. Weather was decent. Could have been a lot worse in October than it
It's
was.
the first decent weather day we had had in a while,
Right.
actually.
The course did have, you go over 3 different bridges with pretty significant elevation change over those for like a pretty good distance. And then there was some slight inclines, through other parts of the course. So it was good training. And then the court, like where it ran through Clearwater, there were some parts that were a little boring, kind of just running on a road, kind of typical kind of suburban feeling, like, strip mall type situation. But then you also ran along the beach. We ran the bridges. They had the pirate ship
Pirate ship was out. Yep.
alongside one of the bridges, and then some of like the pirate cast from the ship were on the bridge, like, you know, yelling motivational piratey things. So it was really fun. It seemed we didn't actually go to the expo, but they did the expo outside at the same place where like the finisher celebration was, and it seemed like it was all the same people who were at the expo were at the finisher party, so we kind of experienced the expo, but pretty good size. I was a little surprised that they did the whole thing outdoors. October is not necessarily super rainy, but it's still Florida, so it seemed like
Hit or miss.
yeah, they really took a chance of getting either rained out or just being super duper hot, and they got a little lucky, I think. But overall, it was good.
Yeah, it was good. Like I said, it wasn't really PR races for us, but it was a good day training, good day out there. A lot of people we knew out there running it too.
Yes, that was
a lot of
fun.
friends, people in our like training group as well. So it was a good day. I didn't really have any like expectations for rock and roll. We have a couple friends who are kind of anti rock and roll, but overall, I thought it was actually pretty decent. Um, Definitely, they are kind of expensive races though.
Yeah, I don't think I would have wanted to pay for like the full price for it. I was like a little shot, like a little like the medal's kind of tiny for it being like an expensive race, but it's still cute. Um, and then I was not impressed with like their pre-race information available on their website slash like communication via email and Facebook. There were lots of people who were very confused about several different aspects of like packet pickup and stuff, and they just were not like answering people's questions very well. So that was, I think, the only quote complaint I would have. The actual race day itself, I thought was really good.
Yeah, I did think
Organized.
it was fairly smooth and everything like that.
Yeah.
Really not too bad. And it was a good time. It was fun. But I think it's probably time that we move
Yeah, the
into
main event.
talking about Wine and Dine, the thing that the show is here. Hi, Wendy. Good to hear from you. If you're running Wine and Dine, coming up, what, next week at this point?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Let's
2
not
weeks.
rush it.
I'm rushing it. I'm ready for it.
People got to get through Halloween first.
But, oh yeah,
God,
that is
yes.
true. But we do have our virtual event guide. We're going to go over pretty much all the information. And as always, we will start where all race weekends start, with the Expo. So Expo is open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Of course, Thursday is kind of the big day. They do the virtual queue process only on that Thursday, and really mostly in the morning. If you've ever joined the virtual queue, or you've done it for Rise of the Resistance, Tron, Guardians of the Galaxy, it all works exactly the same as that. But it opens at 10 a.m. on Thursday, and then it's open 10 till 7 the first day. On Friday, it's open 12 to 7, and on Saturday, it's open 11 to 3. And as always, they recommend that you pick your bib up at the Expo. I mean, we all know you technically can get your bib race day, but it's kind of, I don't want to say hush hush, but
It's
it's
always
discouraged.
it's discouraged, and because they don't say that they do that, I take that to mean they can stop doing that anytime they want, and it's not their fault. So you always take a chance. So if you have the option and the ability to go, you should, to the Expo, you should. Also, I think the Expo's kind of fun.
The Expo is fun. I mean, I almost always go 2 times a
Yeah.
weekend usually.
Yep. They have characters there. I mean, if you want to take pictures that you're not, fighting the clock against during the race, it's a good time to go. And it's fun. They have food, they have music,
Merch.
merch. Merch is always good. So
Really good vendors. There's really
Yes.
good vendors at the Expo.
And we will get into that. So, first off, if you've ever been to the Expo, it is the similar Expo style that we've seen in the last couple years here. Building A is the RunDisney merch. That's the first building you even go by. Typically, you actually walk up and you see that little kind of swooshy curved path is actually where you go and you check in typically for your virtual queue if you were doing that on the first day. But if you walk all the way back in, that's where all of the important stuff is. Well, yes, merch is important.
Yep.
Your bib is even more important.
Yes. So
which is
if you don't want to do merch at all, you can skip building A. There's nothing in there you have to go get. So that is always an option. We have several friends who do that. They just avoid the merch altogether.
Yep. Building C is the State Farm Fieldhouse. That is your bib pickup. I'm sure bib pickup's going to work pretty much exactly the same as always. You go downstairs there, and they're going to have tons of booths with your number. If you haven't gotten your waiver signed, which my account's all sorts of messed up right now.
Mine too. So we're both going to be doing paper waivers this year.
I had to do paper waivers like all last year too.
Yeah, I've had to do them so many times. It is not a big deal. But you can find your bib number when if it doesn't get emailed to you with the Expo pass, which because of how ours is messed up, I'm assuming they may not get emailed to us. You can look it up under runner tracking before you go, because that'll go live before the Expo opens. So just search your name. You'll be able to see your bib number there. And that's what, and you have to write it on the paper waiver. You do have to write your bib number on it.
Yeah, and I think plenty of our Expo videos I filmed kind of during the bib pickup process, so you can watch that and see. I mean, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy. Probably the easiest part of the Expo. But then most people are going to head across to Building B, the Athletic Center. This is the real Expo. This is where... Oh, I was not expecting Walt to make an appearance here. And now he's all tangled up in our earphones, so that's a lot of fun. But in the Athletic Center, of course, this is where you're going to pick your shirts up.
So you definitely need to go
here.
there.
Thank you.
Here, maybe I'll talk for a second. You guys fight your dog.
Anyways, sorry. You're going to pick your shirts up in the Athletic Center. This is actually where all of your vendors are going to be as well. Looks like we have a pretty good amount of vendors this time. This looks like a pretty good size. We've got, 3 full rows and a couple along that back, which recently, both the areas along the bleachers have been empty. I'm not going to go through quite everyone that's on here. I'll just go through, maybe some new ones. American Dream Nut Bar, I've never heard of that.
Nut butter.
That's Nut butter, yeah.
I've heard of them. They sell those at stores, so I'm hoping they might have, little sample packets. That'd be great.
Baby Bell?
Baby Bell cheese.
Yeah.
Ooh, sample cheese. All right.
BB Brooke's going to be there. We all...
Know and love her.
Yep.
I actually am wearing my BB Brooke necklace tonight. My little Mickey head.
I haven't.
I
I
love
don't typically buy lots of things from the Expo floor because I don't like to have a lot of stuff. But I need I think she sells Magic Bands sliders, and I
She
need
does.
one
She does.
for one of my Magic Bands. So I'm gonna go check those out if she has them.
Hulu is going to be there. Get hyped for Hulu.
Yep.
I don't know why
Yep.
they're there.
I'm gonna ask them about Akatar casting. You think they'll know?
No.
No.
Good old Jeff Galloway will be there. And then they'll have their, you can sign up for their groups there as well.
I don't think Fabletics has had. I mean, I know we have a Fabletics in Disney Springs, but I don't think they've had a booth there
Yeah,
before that I
absolutely.
remember. So that'll be fun to see too, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Like I said, seems like it should be a pretty decent size. At least that's what we're hoping for. Always love to see the Expo expand and see new groups in there. It would be nice to get a good shoe, a whole shoe company or shoe sponsor in there.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a shoe company.
We had
there
On
before.
last year show up to I think 1 or 2 of them, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, but I don't. So there isn't a shoe.
No,
there this
there's
year.
not a
Okay.
major shoe brand there.
Maybe we'll get one again sometime.
But yeah, if you have any questions about the Expo, that would be a great time to drop them. Otherwise, we'll kind of keep on talking here move into the 5K information.
Did you mention, I apologize if this was during the Walt interrupting us situation. I think you probably mentioned this is where you go to get your shirts.
Yep.
And then if you wanted to see the medals, they'll have those in the Run Disney showcase area. And sometimes, I think Wine and Dine, they usually will have medals for the upcoming season race as well.
Yeah, typically anything we've seen will be there.
Mm-hmm. So we've seen a couple, and maybe they'll have a coast to coast reveal. Usually they don't reveal things at the expo that usually they do them on social media first, but there's also still time for it to be revealed before then, so hoping that we might see something. If not, we might not see it until January, which is kind of silly because it's just a week early. But
And relating to shirt pickup, just really quick, because I've had a hard time sometimes with shirt sizes and do I have the right size? If there are some available, you can swap out your shirts, but you have to swap out if you're doing a challenge or more than one race. They swap out the entirety of your shirts for an entire new set. So you can't just like swap out one shirt and say, I want this one in an extra large or this one in, just a large or whatever. So just keep that in mind, but you would just go to your shirt pickup and say that you want to swap it out and they will let you know if they have any. And then they'll let you like look at a different size or whatever. There was like a minute there in the COVID times that they didn't let you, like you couldn't touch your shirt if you wanted to swap it. I'm like, that's not how this works. But
overly cautious. And that is a good thing to check because you would think that all the shirts that are theoretically made in the same place by the same machines would all be the same if they're the same size, and they aren't always. So make sure you hold them up, check them out, try them on, and make sure that they're all good. You can always, now you can bring them all back to the expo if you get back to your hotel and realize that something's wrong and you can go back. But again, it's only if they have something available. So we always try to check it while we're standing there.
Yep. Give me 1 sec. I'm just hunting for a piece of information that I don't see on here.
They're usually long sleeve shirts too, right?
For Wine and
Yes,
Dine.
they are again too. Yeah.
I can't see my sleeve.
Yeah.
Long sleeve.
Long sleeves.
And I love the long sleeve tech shirts because I will actually take them and fold it up and put it in my park bag or little park backpack or purse when it gets chilly in the evenings, which happens occasionally now. We're starting to get into long sleeve shirt in the evening weather, and they're just so easy. They're so small and they're so easy to throw on when you're running around.
And I like too for some colder weather runs or even some races, Disney and other ones where I, am not sure like how cold I'll be, how warm I'll get running, because you can tie them around your waist and things pretty easily because they're so light and you don't really notice them. Doesn't look good in pictures, but I don't want to toss these. These are too special to me to be tossed. Did you find the information?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're gonna move into the 5K here. None of us are running the 5K. Actually, I like that one a little bit better for this here. But we will go over, this here is the general layout of the whole race weekend. This is going to stay pretty much consistent for all 3 races. So now is a pretty good time to go through that. You can see the green line is the finish down there towards the bottom. A pretty similar finish layout that we've seen in the past. Spectator viewing all kind of along the bends there. It's also really going to have like the vendors and some of the food trucks out. Usually a lot of porta potties and stuff as well for you are over in that area. And then back in the runner reunion area, that's where you're going to find your beer, character photos, a couple other like your information, gear check, all of that's going to be back there. Also buses from leaving the race. Buses coming to the race will drop you off over at the Epcot bus entrance center, and that's because you go through security by Epcot or the regular Epcot security. And then start groups is the same area for all 3 races. Only thing different that we'll get into this year is there's like entry times depending on what your corral is, which is something new and different. So we can kind of speculate on how we think that's going to work and why they need to do that. But it is going to be kind of a lot of speculation and probably a lot of this is what they were thinking they're going to do, and then it's going to end up working almost exactly the same as it was, just like how they've consistently tried to change the corral start groups, and it always ends up being the same thing.
Yep. So we'll see. But a good thing to note is, well, we'll get into it, actually. Do you have that chart that shows the different
I do. I
times?
have it
Okay.
for each race.
All right, so we'll get into it when we have the actual charts to look
But
at.
all races start at 5 a.m. Some of the buses do start at different times. Talking about the 5K specifically, we have a 3 a.m. start time for the buses if you're on a Disney resort.
Yep.
And that is for all of the resorts. So this here is the start group times. Again, this is all new. For the 5K, it does not seem to matter as much because all of the start groups open at the same time. They open at 3:45, which is pretty early, an hour and 15 minutes before your race start.
Don't go in your start group that early.
It's a lot
Unless
of-
you really want to be in the
Yeah.
front.
It's a lot of time to sit and wait and all of that. There's a lot of other kind of fun things you could be doing during that time, probably.
Yeah.
And I would probably suggest going to the bathroom a little later than that. But I think this is what I was going to say before, is I think it is important to note that I think on every race, every start group has some kind of close time listed, which is going to be new for a lot of people. Some of the higher corrals, A and B, have had closed times before. Lake's experienced that. Almost missing it
Did
before.
almost miss a close time last year.
So, and they're typically pretty strict with getting them closed because that means they're moving and they can't really
Get you there
logistically get a
once
lot
they've
of people.
moved.
So pay attention to those close times and don't push it because you may end up missing your corral. I mean, they'll still let you go in a further back corral as long as you're there before everything's clear. But
Yeah. I guess in that aspect, it is nice, like, knowing you have, like, a hard, like, this is what the last time I need to be in the corral. Because before it wasn't really announced. It was just kind of like, all right, we're going to start moving them, so these ones are going to close.
True, they didn't know. Yeah, it used to just be whenever they started moving it, and we didn't know. So that is kind of nice to know
Yep.
when the moving will happen. And then maybe that, because I was like thinking this is so different, but maybe it's really not that different. They're going
That's
to
what I
move
said.
them
I don't
around the
think it's
same
going to end
time.
up being that much different. than
Yeah, it just
I-
feels different.
I feel like there's not enough room, and that for the half marathon, at least, you're not even allowed to enter until after the first corrals have gone. So my guess is that they need to filter in the later start groups into the corral from the earlier groups.
Yes, I do think that is the case for the half, based on the fact that it doesn't open until the first group, or I think the first two groups actually leave. And I think that is true. And I think it has to do, I think there is a slight difference in the setup. We've seen, if you've seen the course map is slightly different in where kind of we start. So I think that is true.
Yeah.
But I think the 5K and 10K are going to be very like how they felt in the past.
We'll see.
We don't
I'm
know.
not saying.
We won't be there for the 5K, so we don't know. But the half, I think, is going to feel different.
Yep.
Yeah, but then we do have the wrong
Map.
one. The 5K course. This is pretty much the standard course that we've seen for every 5K in the last couple of years. You're going to start out where we just said by the parking lot. You run around the parking lot. You run in through the backside of Epcot by the cast entrance. Run by Test Track. You do the little loop around World Showcase. And then you're running down the center towards Spaceship Earth. You run by Connections. There is a little kind of new loop over. You basically go by the Guardians, the spaceship statue. So that is kind of new.
That's
That's
new.
cool that you get
Yeah.
to go in through that. And then you're going out back by Mission Space and Test Track to the normal finish, back behind the big blue Guardians building. And then pretty normal finish. It looks like it's positioned different on this, but when you look at the regular map that we saw before, it's pretty much the same setup.
I think it is in a slightly different place, but I don't know if it'll be that noticeable once you're actually there running through it.
But yeah, that is really all I have for the 5K, other than we do have the medal here.
And so these are two different sides of the medal. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah. Double-sided on that one. Sounds right. Yeah, because you got two different characters on it.
And no, okay. I thought it was 5 o'clock on it, but it's not. It's 12:25?
12:25, apparently.
I don't know
Yeah,
what that
we'll go
means.
back
I
to
thought 5
school.
o'clock would have been cute because that's when the race started, but oh, sorry, love. Forgot we were attached.
But yeah, that is about it. 5Ks are fun. They're chill. We
I
like them.
think the Alice in Wonderland theme is very, very cute. We haven't had that, and I think that's new.
Not in a while, yeah.
So that'll be really fun. And I would say we don't get a lot of Alice in Wonderland characters at races that I am remembering.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like I have a lot with the
Alice?
Queen of Hearts. I have a lot with the rabbit.
Oh, see, I was thinking more Alice.
I can't remember the last time we've seen Alice. I've seen the Mad Hatter.
I do remember them. Actually, you know what? I think I've seen Alice and the Mad Hatter during the full marathon by the teacups. But it'll still be cute to get all the characters kind of together, very close together in a 5K.
Yep. But after the 5K, again, if y'all have any questions, feel free to just ask along. We'll answer them as we go. Obviously, the setup is going to look the same, so we're not going to talk about that map at all. And again, the 10K, the start group, open and closing times, everything opens at 3:45 for this one. And then the close times looks like between 10 to 20 minutes apart. You have 4:40 for the first group, 4:50 for the second group. Then you go back to 5:10. I'm going to guess because maybe C is larger.
No, C is smaller. I think B is larger because I think B is where Club Run Disney goes. So it's going to take, so they're going like it's going to take 20 minutes to get B.
C is typically where Club Run Disney goes.
Sorry. I thought it was B.
Yeah. Transportation for the 10K also starts at 3 a.m. And it does, I feel like they're like trying to push this like even earlier. I mean, 3 a.m. I think's been pretty typical.
When start groups open?
Yeah.
No, usually it was before.
Say again, Christy?
You were asking about transportation though, right? From the resorts?
Well, I just more meant in general. It seems like they're trying to push everything even earlier.
Yeah.
Like 3:45 is early for start groups. It used to be like an hour before, right?
Yeah, start groups didn't open it that early before. They opened usually around 4, sometimes 4:10.
Just a good old hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the point of that.
I feel like they're trying to maybe manage crowds, like get people in there. Maybe they've had a lot of people running up late in the past few years that they're trying to avoid that happening, and so they're trying to impress upon people to move earlier.
I mean, Go ahead.
I do really like that they have the times. Like, I feel like that's a super helpful piece of information. I don't know if we're going to talk about this if you're driving in too, because whatever this information came out of, the email that we got, the guide, also talked about when the different roads were going to close for the later races, especially, but probably even for the 10K. And that's important, especially if you're driving in from like the Magic Kingdom side in, because that road, what is that road called? World Drive does close, and they'll close the exit to get to Epcot. So, I love that information. Like, I'm really happy that they're giving us more information. And just like these start times, I'm really happy to have more information.
Yep, on the event guide, each event does have like a road closure. It's got information on the time the road closes, and which roads it is. It's got a map. It's the Run Disney race map, and it's just instead of the course, it's got all the road closures on it.
Yeah.
So
Super
if you are
helpful.
driving, check that out. We've been leaning towards driving. Sorry, Katie is getting Walt out of here. He's just like
He wants to
rustling
be
around.
involved.
He does like to be involved, but he is not sitting very nicely.
He's a little stressed today, so he's
Oh no.
being very annoying as he was sitting in our lap. So he's been banished.
But anyways, we have the 10K course. And funny enough, I really actually didn't look at this one that hard because I think everyone's interest was talking about the half course.
Ugh,
Um,
of course. But this one's fine. I think it's
Well,
fine.
it's so funny. It's like it's not obviously the full half course backwards, but it's a good portion of the half course backwards. So like that little kind of like fish hook that we do near the beginning is on the half, but it's the other direction. I'm excited for this one because we have the road to start with. It's going to give us a good amount of time to spread out, kind of find your pace, and then it's not going to be so crowded in the parks the way that the half is going to be.
This is my favorite of the 10K courses. I love this course. Now, I do like when they mix it up and we get like some different ones. Actually, I think that's what, like last year, we kind of rotated between two different 10K courses, and that was really nice. But I think this is like my top favorite one. I mean, for the 10K, you get 2 parks out of it, which is really solid. You get to go all the way through Hollywood. I like that little Hollywood entrance where you go back behind the Tower of Terror and you come in by Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah, you don't get to go all the way through Hollywood. I just want to...
No, yeah.
You get to go into Hollywood.
It. Yes.
Because all the way through Hollywood is what we get to do in the half. And
which is great.
Yes.
Fine.
But you get the Sunset Boulevard
Yes.
down to the main street there.
Very iconic.
And it's like, 6 miles is not something to just like brush past. And so for people that are just doing the 10K too, or even if you're doing the challenge, like the first 3 miles, I feel that a lot of people who are running, that's fine. You're just, like you said, Katie, you're getting into your stride. You're just figuring out, you're just going. You're not really even paying attention to what's happening. And so I love that it's the second half when maybe you're starting to get more tired and you need that little bit of entertainment. I love that this course has that.
Yeah.
Is my flaw with the other course, but
there is a positive to that other one. I think we'll get to it when we get there.
Can't wait to hear it. That's what I'm going to listen to. I'm going to play you back when I'm running it and hating life and going.
People may not agree with me. It's a personal positive, I think, but I do like so exactly how you said. You have about 3.5 miles of. And you'll have entertainment. We'll have characters and, all of that in that 3.5 miles. And then the last 3 miles are really kind of just like the party to get you through it. Those usually go by pretty quick. Even if you have to slow down because it's going to get a little, it could get a little more crowded. Although with the way this is set up, you'll probably by this point be with people who are about the same pace as you are, so it won't feel quite as bad, I think. But it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Kathy, we'll hit your question here just a second. We're going to finish talking about the course. You do run that path that runs Hollywood to Boardwalk. That can get a little bit tight. But this far into the race, you've had a little bit of space to spread out. And for the 10K, hopefully it won't be quite as bad for you. You do go around Boardwalk, another lovely part of the race. And then you do a very quick kind of pass through Epcot. You go in back by the UK, which is pretty typical, and you run just that little bit towards the center of World Showcase down towards Spaceship Earth by Connections. And then you don't run that little loop around Guardians, which is making me a little bit jealous of the 5K runners there. That's a cool little part. Probably a cool photo op.
You could run over there if you wanted. You're fast enough. They couldn't catch you and you can get back on.
I don't know that they'd stop you either, honestly. I mean, people run off the course all the time to take pictures.
Yeah.
But then you go and you run out by Mission Space and Test Track. You do that long little area by the Guardians building, and then you are done.
I also, it's always fun to have like more park time during races, but I also like that you don't have to go all the way around World Showcase at the end of the run here, because World Showcase has never felt as long as it has at the end of one of these runs. So this one you get your Epcot time, but it also like goes super quick because I know in my mind, I always like enter Epcot and think, oh, I have to run all the way around World Showcase every single time, no matter what race it is. And if I know that I don't. So when we get this course and it goes by so quick, it's a lovely, lovely feeling.
Oh, I love when we go around World Showcase.
I mean, I love that too. I like World Showcase, but it always is like, oh, it's going to be really long. So it's nice when I forget what the course
that
is.
was not the right. There we go.
Yep.
Kathy asked a quick question about if you have to do the long walks. No, all of the races start in the Epcot parking lot. They all start right there, so there is no long walk out to the corrals for Wine and Dine this time. But that wraps up our courses there.
For the 10K.
For the 10K, yep.
And note while Lake is, the medal. We should talk about that, and I'll give my note in a second.
Yep, so then we do have the medal. It is a spinner in the center. So you got Lumiere and Cogsworth on one side, and then Mrs. Potts and Chip on the other side. It's pretty cute. It's very like bright and nicely colored.
Yeah, I think that one's really cute.
Why do I feel like Cogsworth every time I look at this picture? I'm like, that's me.
I do too.
And to that point, maybe this is a perfect segue. If you are a run walker, if you could try to do the like Run Disney etiquette stuff where you raise your hand before you're going to change your either a run or a walk, if you can think about it, because honestly, the people around you are doing things based upon what you're doing. And remember, you can really injure somebody if you just like stop. And if you could be closer to the right, even though it seems like maybe in some other races, I've heard there's some chatter that walkers would be onto the left. But at Run Disney, if you are doing some walking, if you could be towards the right-hand side, just make it a little bit easier for everybody. And then if you're like me and Cogsworth in the end, like running around extra people at the time I get to run is just so much more effort, right? Like if it was a run like today and I was dying at the end, just to help us all out, like to be good citizens of the Run Disney community.
Mm-hmm. And also remember, like, I think of it like I'm driving and changing lanes. You can do quick looks behind you, around you, starting and stopping. If you, because of the pinch points, if you can't,
you don't have a choice.
Sometimes you can't get over to the right. If you're free on the left, if you need to step over onto, I would be careful stepping onto grass. Like you can do it, but sometimes you don't want to turn an ankle or something. It's mostly just being aware of your surroundings. But Disney obviously has a lot of run walkers, myself included. So you just have to be ready for that.
For the 10K, I want to say we typically average somewhere around 8,000. I could be off, and by race it does vary. But typically we're in that like 8s right now, I believe is where we float. The half marathons recently have been anywhere from like the 12 to 14s. Wine and Dine's typically not one of their bigger ones. Princess and Walt Disney World half marathon tend to be the two bigger halves. But let's go ahead and move into the half marathon, the big one here. There we go.
This is where the start and closing of the groups gets a little bit more, I don't want to say complicated, but varied.
A little more spread out, yeah. So corrals for group A and B open at 3:15, and then C opens at 3:30, D opens at 3:45, and then Group E doesn't even open until 5 o'clock, which is what time the race starts. Now this is kind of nice information if you're like there and like you want to do characters and stuff. Like, it is nice to know. Oh, I have this hard set time that I need to be, at my group.
Yeah, for the closing. I mean, those that is different. The start groups being open that early, that is not something that we've seen before. It has been like an hour, 45 minutes after that time, so that is different. But like you said, the closing does help a lot. But I would keep in mind wherever you are in that parking lot before your start group close time. I mean, it could take 5 minutes to get over to where your corral is. So
if not longer,
depending on where you are, yeah.
Yeah, the buses for the half marathon do start at 2:30, whereas all the other races this weekend are 3, which is very typical for the half marathon to start earlier. It's typically the most amount of people they're trying to move in the day.
And
That could
the
be
monorail.
another.
The monorail is not running on this for this race, so keep that in mind as well.
It's so silly. If they're going to start it in Epcot, they should run the monorail.
It's been a couple races now
that they haven't done it.
Yeah.
It is so nice to have that option.
If you're on that loop, it is convenient.
Yeah. Just to not have to worry about the traffic, because that monorail can go wherever the monorail goes.
And then I'm going to talk about the course. I've got a couple zoomed images here, so we can kind of break this down. I think this is the most divisive piece of Wine and Dine this year. I actually don't hate this course. I'm not going to lie. I think it's kind of interesting, and I hope that the loop kind of surprises us. Hopefully they've got some cool entertainment in there, and the miles just kind of breeze by. And for the record, we all complained about doing an out and back. We said that was the worst thing ever.
Yay!
So they said, okay, we're going to change it and not do an out and back.
I'm glad it's not an out and back. Like, I actually like this one. I like certain parts of this one better than last year's. I don't like that I guess we have almost 2 miles to spread out, but that's still not very much, and that's not a super wide road for that first 2 miles.
No, it's very wiggly too. It's very wiggly.
It does get pretty tight pretty quick on this course.
Yeah. If you're in a slower corral, just be prepared to have some pinch points, and then you can open it up and you can go much faster in the second half.
Yeah, the second half you're going to have all the space in the world.
Yeah. Negative splits. There's the positive, Christy. You can get some negative splits.
Is that what I'm going to...
Yeah.
Is that what I'm thinking of? Okay. That's me, Katie, running through my head. Here's where I get negative splits.
Yeah, exactly.
So, as we talked about before, we start in that Epcot parking lot. Difference here, though, is that you're not making that right turn immediately and running through the parking lot. You're actually going left, and you're going to be swinging on one of the merges onto Epcot Center Drive, which that is actually going to give you a big open space there.
True. Epcot Center Drive is bigger, so that will give some, but
from like a quarter mile to like, actually for a pretty good part, because you're getting off on the merge there.
Yeah.
Your first almost mile and a half is pretty much all highway.
Yeah, which is kind of how when I was saying before, I was kind of realizing that as I was looking at it, because I think I was thinking of this like the 5K, 10K, where you you just stick in the parking lot and then that access road. So this does give you a little more room than I had originally thought. So it won't be as bad as I was envisioning. But another random thing that's going to be better on this course compared to not Wine and Dine in the past, but some other ones, is there's typically on some courses there's a water stop that is along that walkway that goes from the boardwalk to the Hollywood Epcot area, and it's always on only one side, and it's just the worst spot for a water stop ever because you're already pinched there. So if they do have the water stop there, at least it's early and you won't be in desperate need for water. So if you're not able to get over, which has happened to me before, it won't be terrible. Which you haven't probably experienced that.
No,
But
that's
that is
not
that is a experience we have had.
But yeah, so anyways, you're getting a lot of highway up until about mile 1.5 until you're gonna be cutting into the backstage entrance again into Epcot, and then you're gonna run in by Mexico, cut the left there. You're going pretty
Katie's
much
favorite.
all the way around World Showcase.
Early in the race, it's fine. It's when you're at the end of the race and you have to run all the way around World Showcase during the marathon and you are so tired.
That
I can
is
see that.
that is tough. You actually get almost all of World Showcase on this course, which is kind of nice because
Yeah.
you're running all the way out past behind UK to get out this time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Mile 3, you're right at Boardwalk. You're going around the Boardwalk side. That's probably going to be pretty slippery because they do wash it in the morning, and
And
it's
it'll
almost
still-
always wet.
And it'll still be a quiet zone, especially that early.
Yep, that is something was that last year they started that, where not quite as many people out, not quite as hype. It's still a very pretty area for the race and during the race, but it's not quite as,
I think they started that
not so much cowbell.
I think they started that when they bumped the start times up earlier.
Oh.
Just for the races where like during the marathon when you go through there, it's late enough, people are awake, they don't worry about it. But it makes sense. This is gonna be before 6 a.m. for most of the race, I think. So that's really early to have a lot of people cheering out right outside your hotel room.
Then you're on the path from Epcot to Hollywood, mile 3 to 4 there. Again, that's going to be tight. Pack your patience, be kind, raise your hand if you're going to walk, all of that fun, courteous etiquette stuff. And then we get to probably the most interesting part of the race, I think, for most people, is the run through Hollywood. You get a really nice portion of Hollywood Studios, pretty much the whole park. So you come in down the main entrance, you hang a left by Gertie, and I forget what is that Crescent Lake there? That we call that?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And then you hang another left, you're going by Star Tours, Muppets area, and then down into Galaxy's Edge. You run all the way through down around Galaxy's Edge. Just note, you really don't get to see like the Millennium Falcon or any of that, because all of that's like staired and like down the other way.
And also keep in mind that that area can also be slippery because of the effect that they have used to make it look
It's very uneven.
like Star Wars.
Also, they've got like so many weird rules about like their characters and stuff. That typically kind of like isn't that interesting of an area like character wise. Like sometimes the stormtroopers are up on that ledge where they usually are, above the like salvage yard where the vehicles are. But it's not really like full of character stops or even photo pass.
I don't think they have character stops there. I do think they have photo pass like for the while you're running, and maybe one place there. It's just not a super.
Just
big
like
area.
it seems like a part of the race where like there should be characters and stops and stuff, and like I feel like consistently it's felt like a dead zone. Like you kind of run by and you're like, okay, we're out, and then you get into Toy Story and they're like character, photos, characters. Like
Lots of Toy Story usually.
you need 10 more photos with Woody, we've got you.
Also, this is a part of the race where there are a couple very good bathrooms too.
Yeah.
Because especially at the end of Toy Story Land, before you turn back in, I don't know what that road is called, by what's the
Before you get back towards the Chinese theater.
yeah, the Walt Museum, little museum.
One Man Stream.
One Man Stream. Thank you. There's a very good bathroom situation right there.
You pass
It's large, so
many bathrooms
Yeah.
in Hollywood that are easily accessible. One in Toy Story, one right after Toy Story, one down Sunset Boulevard.
Including the one right before you get to Hollywood Studios. That one that's right
by the
off by the.
Skyliner.
Mhm.
Yep.
I've definitely
that's a
been
good
in
one,
that
too.
one.
Yeah, and that's actually a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing to mention and keep in mind for this course. That'll be your last opportunity for real bathrooms for a little while.
Ugh.
Yep. But then you do go and turn down Sunset Boulevard, and you are going.
Maybe
Sorry,
you
I'm
can
trying to see which way we're going out and
run
around
into
here.
Coronado.
That would be a long run across that parking lot. I mean, you could,
Yeah.
but it'd be a long.
Why add to it, right? Are you
Okay, yes. So you run up the hill by Tower of Terror and by the amphitheater for Phantasmic.
Usually they have something cool in the amphitheater. One year they had that big organ thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because they have a good amount of space right there. They can usually put something cool. They're like a big DJ situation or, something in there.
And then from there, it is the grind. You're going out Hollywood, hanging a left, and you're going to be running on that road a little bit less than a mile to get to Coronado. And then you were just staying straight on that road. You're going out by Blizzard Beach, and then you're going to make a left onto Osceola, and then you pretty quickly get right off of Osceola there. Interestingly enough, we're running on the other side of the road. We almost always run on like the correct side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
We're running on the opposite side. Something just kind of niche and different there.
Yeah. I mean,
Not that the side of the road is going to affect the race too much for most people.
It must have just been too much mileage to go the other way and all the way.
Yeah, and have to do the loops and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. But then you are on World Drive for almost 2 miles here. I'm running all the way up World Drive. And then you're going to hit that overpass loop. It's probably where Sarge is going to be standing, yelling at you right before mile 10. You're going to run up those rolling hills there from mile to 10, and 10 to 11 is just a whole lot of ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
Mile 11, you're making your way back into Epcot. You're in Epcot by mile 12. You go in the backside by Journeying to Imagination. Go ahead, Christy.
There's another hill, if I'm correct, between 11 and 12 that I
Yes,
forget
when you're
about.
going over that little bridge there.
Every single race, I
But
forget.
You know
Every
what you gotta
single
do, unless it's Princess and there's so much fog
No,
you
it's fine.
can't see Spaceship Earth, is you just focus on Spaceship
Oh.
Earth.
Yeah, I like that part because you like crest over and you like
Yeah.
see Spaceship
Yeah.
Earth and you're like, here we go.
Of all the hills and overpasses that
At
you
least
have to
that
run through, this one is the one with the best view.
But I feel like I've asked in the past, oh, are we done? Because, there's so many. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then you round that corner and you're like, oh, but now I remember. But it's just,
One more.
yeah. But then, like you said, you get Spaceship Earth, you're almost done.
And you get a nice downhill
Yeah.
off of that one too. And you're so close to being done. It's a good time to, your legs are tired, but you can pick up a little speed on the downhill. And usually there's a character at the end of that hill or someone playing music. So
Yeah, and then mile 12 is a pretty quick little Epcot part. You're going to actually, after you go through Journey to Imagination, you're going to hang a right and run down that little side path there where like the old Starbucks used to be. There's some food and wine booths and whatnot. And then you hang a left and just a real quick part along World Showcase there to run right back down the main center part by Connections. And then pretty standard finish here by Connections past Mission Space, running around the Guardians building, and you've done your half marathon. All that fun stuff.
Blake will be standing there cheering because he'll be done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is hanging out after the race is like one of my favorite parts.
It is super fun. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I hope that, the entertainment and stuff is good along that, like, back half of the race and that it just goes by quick and it's a
Do you think
good time.
the scary new Figment will be out? I mean, he exists.
If he's out, I would imagine him being more of a
Into the race.
yeah, end of the race, pre-race character. But we'll see.
That's true.
I don't
That
think
would
he'll be.
change-
Typically, the like main theme character isn't on course.
Yeah.
Typically, they're pre-race, post-race, where people can wait
Do we
without the
think-
fear of being swept.
Do we think we'll get Encanto characters?
Encanto characters would be cool. We had Mirabelle last
Yes,
year.
we've had Mirabelle, but there's also been casting for the other characters, but I don't know if they exist yet, or because I feel like if they were gonna have the new Encanto characters, they would introduce them like in the special way that Disney does before the race.
Right.
So, but I want them.
Yeah, well, speaking of Encanto, we do have the Encanto themed medal for the half marathon. Mirabelle like kind of swings back and forth, it looks like, and she reveals really
Very sad.
very
looking
sad,
Bruno.
yeah.
looks
Sad
so
looking Bruno.
rough. He looks like a rough Bruno. Like,
I mean,
maybe
he's pretty
how-
rough in the movie, but
Yeah.
they didn't do him any favors.
So we'll
Oh,
just,
there's a little magnet there
there is,
by
yeah.
his face. Okay.
Oh, good. We
Yeah,
can
so
cover
she'll
him
like
up.
lock in over
You
there.
can just hide him. Hide sad.
Oh, you can
Bruno.
see the hole in her dress. Okay. Yeah, I see.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and then I think the medal that most of us are pretty excited about, except for Katie.
No, I think it's a cute medal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie's not
Do you
a
not
Figment
like
stan
Figment?
usually.
Okay, it's not that I don't like Figment. It's that for a very, 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 very long time, Figment was on every single piece of like festival merchandise you could ever buy at
I was there
Epcot.
for it. Mhm.
And I just wanted something without him on it. And also I hate the ride. I think he's cute.
Well, the
I
ride
think
is
the idea is
ridiculous.
cute.
Mhm. Just
But yeah.
Memorial Park. I'm gonna.
It's
have
just
to
he
add
was on
that song.
everything, and then for a very long time, I also didn't really like the color purple. So like, I
Oh,
want
Katie,
stuff with
how are
purple
we
on it.
friends?
Well, that's not true anymore. Just for a
Okay.
I it didn't look good on me, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But
This
is
is the only reason I'm
interesting
Did
doing
we
it.
medal.
light up?
Yes, this medal lights up. That's what I was about to say. This is the first time we've had a light up medal.
Oh, I can't wait for that to break.
I was about to say, I can't wait to hear
Funny.
about people complain that the light bulb didn't work
Yeah.
so that they can put it in their sock drawer forever.
Yeah. I mean, we're not gonna like leave it lit all the time, people. Just relax on your medal not lighting up. But look at he's also like running and working so hard. I love this.
Yeah. No, it's a cute medal.
I
This
mean,
is
he's
this is the reason. This is the reason for the challenge. This is the reason for the half. I did not need the half in my life at this time. And yet here we are.
every time Christie's ran a challenge, she said, "I'm not running a challenge again," and then
I've
she
run it once.
talks herself into a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
the cute themes and medals are a
That's how they get you.
yeah,
It
they're
is.
motivation.
It
So-
is. I am prize oriented.
Think of how many how many calories versus like yummy things to eat you have exchanged
Oh,
getting ready for that medal. So it's good.
But yeah. And then, of course, we do have one more little bit to talk about. I don't really have any pictures for this because they didn't really, like, share anything.
They only ever post pictures
the
from
party.
prior years
Yeah.
promo. So
But we have the after party. If anyone has any questions about any of the courses, the races, Run Disney or Wine and Dine in general, now would be a great time to ask while we're talking about this.
Yep.
Just so that we have time to see your question and kind
Before we
of
wrap
think
up.
that through. But, of course, if you run the challenge or the half marathon, you get a complimentary or included after party ticket to the Epcot Wine and Dine after party. You can get in as early as 5 p.m., which means you can make dinner reservations, you get to see the fireworks. You really get like a good amount of park time before the party even begins. The party begins at 10 o'clock after the park closes. And then it runs until 1 a.m. They've got a good majority of the attractions are open. You got Test Track, Soarin', which should still be Soarin' over California. So I recommend you just park a seat there and ride that for, 2 hours at least. Just really soak in that orange smell.
Is that what we're doing?
Yep, that's what we're doing.
I definitely
Frozen-
would ride it. I haven't ridden it yet.
Frozen Ever After, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and of course Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. We got to ride, I think, almost everything last year. I think the only thing we
I don't
didn't
think
do
we did
was
Journey
Frozen.
or Frozen.
No, but
We have to do Journey this year.
do we
Do we?
have to?
Yes, we have our medal. We have the challenge. We'll have the shirt. We have to go on the ride, please.
We'll consider. We'll see. Typically, though, there'll also be characters out through World Showcase. typically,
Maybe. Do they have a meet and greet for him going on right now?
Yes.
They might just have that open.
Oh my god.
I'm not sure where it is. Or
I would
I know where it is.
okay.
I would imagine that he's going to be out for the party. But typically they will give you like a map at the party. It's going to have more information about the times, what characters you can see where. In the past, they've also brought the mileage signs out to the event.
Oh, that's cool.
And they've typically been backed by, I think, the American Adventure Pavilion, where they do the random character, I don't know.
It's a good spot for them because there's like almost exactly the right amount of space to put each like mile distance there.
Wait, where are they?
Back by American Adventure by the Joffrey's Pavilion, where sometimes like a ton of characters will just come out and do like a big meet and greet.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's that like blank space where the entrance is in the back.
Yeah.
Your ticket looks like this, and it has come. I don't know if you guys also
mine has Tiana on it. Well, we have one. We got one.
Yeah, we have
ticket.
one of two right now.
We think because of like the registration issues,
my account being so messed up.
We think maybe his may have ended up in California.
Oh, no.
At someone else's house. But if you do don't get your ticket before you have to leave, or I think if you're international, you can get it at the Expo.
Yeah.
We've had to do that before. So you just go there, you tell them my ticket never came, and they can like cancel the old one and give you a new one type situation. So no worries there. Just don't forget to go get it.
Yep.
And you also get if you're registered for the half of the challenge, you get a $15 gift card that's delivered electronically to your email. And then you use like your phone, or I think you can add it to your Apple.
Like Google Wallet and all that sort of stuff.
And it does expire like a week after the half, so you can't like necessarily save it and use it for your next Disney trip unless your next Disney trip is right after this. So, but it's just a Disney gift card. You can use it at the party. You can use it at the Expo, on Disney. You can use it anywhere Disney gift cards are accepted. It's just, it has a very quick expiration date.
Yep. Good. And then 2 other points from the party. They do have like a jumbo pin that they're selling. It's at the Creation Shop. I think it says there's a certain time, beginning at 8 p.m. at the Creation Shop while supplies last. Typically the line for this is super huge and it sells out super fast. And it's also been like extremely overpriced the last couple of years. So I think, no, I don't think we bought it any of the years.
No.
I think every time we've seen the line and been like, not money we needed to spend.
We looked at a jumbo pin the last race weekend and I was like, oh, maybe we'll get this. And then you informed me of how much the jumbo pins cost. And I was like, no, we're not going to get this. That is insane. They also have a special drink that comes with a souvenir cup that is kind of cute.
The souvenir cup actually
Can you post that?
Pretty cool looking. No, because it's on... I can't format the picture. Oh, wait, no.
Okay.
Sorry, I can screen share. I can make that happen. I'm sorry. We have the technology, friends.
There you go.
I
There we go.
See it. Boop. Oh, yeah.
And sometimes these cups light up. Does it say the cups light up?
I am not sure if the cup lights up or
and
not.
Vodka and pineapple. This sounds delicious.
Yeah, this is like a super spruced up, like, screwdriver, caribou type
and
drink. It sounds good. It sounds like something I would like.
Yeah, we haven't gotten the specialty drinks in the past just because they haven't seemed like something we would like, but maybe for the cup.
I don't get why. I don't get the wristband. I guess the wristband is because it's for sale while the park is still open. And not everybody. I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes
they don't
more
want
sense.
people getting in line and buying the pin if they're not
or the
actually
cup
part of the party.
Maybe that was just about the pin.
Yeah, it was just about the pin with the wristband.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
They might not start selling that drink until 10 p.m. because they do kind of some of the things they do close so that non-party people leave.
What is the food situation into the evening?
Wine and Dine booths are open.
Mm-hmm.
Or
they are?
food and wine booth. Yeah. Yeah, all the food and wine booths are open all night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can't remember if I feel like a select popcorn. Few may have been closed, but most, if not all of them, are open. But outside of that, there's not, there may be like a quick service place open or something like that. But if you need like a full meal, that's why we say maybe make a reservation and have like a dinner before the park closes.
A
is
proper
always
meal.
a fun thing. And because you have park guests and party guests, it can get a little crowded during that time. So it's kind of nice to maybe like go have a dinner, sit down, wait for people to leave, and you know, you ran a half marathon, you can sit down for a sit down dinner.
I'm so excited.
That is kind of all of the information. We are staying at Coronado for this weekend. Go ahead, Christy.
The transportation, Disney transportation, I assume, runs throughout the whole party.
Yes.
Back to the resorts.
Yep. It'll run till, I think, same as like when a park closes, an hour after.
I do believe the Skyliner does close before the party.
Mm-hmm.
But they have buses going to all the resorts. I'm not sure about the monorail. I think the monorail might close early as well.
Probably closes.
So depending on how late you stay, it'll be a bus, but
they'll get you back there.
Yeah.
I will be staying in a Magic Kingdom area resort for this race weekend. I was able to secure a place, and I'm like, I can go to sleep without my family. Like, they will not be staying those nights, and then I can stay up late and just, take my Disney transportation and sleep in a little bit maybe on Monday.
Yeah,
Possibly.
We're at Coronado, which has become like our Run Disney like staying headquarters the past few years.
It is a good place.
It is so easy to drive to the races because it is a left turn and a left turn, and you're there.
Yeah.
Cheers.
We'll have to check the time though, since that road goes by Coronado.
Most of the main roads were 3:45 for the half marathon.
Okay.
Some of the there were some random like back roads and stuff that were 3, but it looked like the main way was 3:45.
World Drive. Is that really World Drive? I don't know.
Yes.
The main road almost always closes at 3:30. Almost always. Like, maybe it's 3:45, but like it's already like mostly closed and looks very closed before it's supposed to close. And you're sort of, do I belong here? Am I breaking the law? But so just watch that. They are real on closing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If anyone has any other questions about Wine and Dine race weekend, the after party, now's kind of your last shot while we kind of wrap up here. Other than that, our plans for the weekend, we won't get there until Thursday afternoon, so we won't hit the expo until Friday morning. But if you're going to be there...
Friday noon.
Well,
open till noon.
It doesn't open till noon. So Friday noon. So if you're going to be there Friday, keep an eye out for us. Come say hi, all that fun stuff. That is like one of our favorite things of the weekends, is getting to see and meet people and meet up with people that we've met before. And as always, typically after the races, we'll be hanging out for a little bit. We usually hang out somewhere kind of around the stands, the character stops. You can always message us too on Instagram. Just say, hey, we want to meet you. Where are you guys? We'll be like, oh, we're here. And also at the after party, we'll be out. We were moving last year at the after party.
Yeah.
We did a lot of attractions,
Got a lot of stuff.
a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
But Scott says, best of luck. We eagerly await the videos. Yep, of course. We'll be out there. We'll be filming, doing all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so we have to dust off our cameras and...
Oh, we're doing costumes too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them too.
Who's putting them together?
One of a much more talented artsy friend. She's they are kind of taking charge of the costumes for the group. So
yeah,
very cool.
But we are looking forward to it. It should be a good time. Wine and Dine's always a really fun weekend.
Yeah.
But I think that is a good place to wrap up here. Christy, you have anything else you want to add?
Nope. Good luck, everyone. Running.
Alrighty then. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all of that fun YouTube-y stuff. Of course, you can find us over on MouseGen. You can follow along with Christy at Pack Your Pixie Dust on Instagram, and also over at the DCL Podcast, where we all frequent and host. And we will talk to you all soon and see you at Wine and Dine. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.